All right, standing here with Rob from the Manchester area in New Hampshire, and you have a commerce idea that you think would benefit the liberty movement in New Hampshire. Tell me a little about that.
I wouldn't really call it my idea. It's just an idea that I've come across in my exploration of different business opportunities. Back around sometime around 40 years ago, I forget the guy's name, but he came up with this accounting idea that made the concept of direct business-to-business barter a lot more efficient and a lot easier. Basically what happens is that when two businesses are able to trade their goods directly, it's an extremely profitable arrangement for the both of them, because when you're providing a good or a service, obviously you're providing that good or a service because you're able, in the cash economy, you're able to generate cash profits from it. Now, when you're able to directly barter services for your business, that actually increases your purchasing power by a multiple of whatever it costs you to provide that service. So if you have a good or a service that costs you, say, $1 that you end up selling for $2, in order to buy another service that, say, costs $2, you're going to have to sell two items of your product or service. If you're able to do that on a barter basis, where you give the retail value of your good or service to another business and they give you the retail value of their good or service, well, you only have to do one sale. So basically what happens is that setting up these peer-to-peer business trades are very profitable, but they're also very time-consuming for the businesses involved. So what happens is that a trade broker kind of goes in, he talks to the business owners and says, I can help you conserve cash, I can help you generate incremental sales, and I can help you market your business, and I can make sure you maintain cash in your pocket, which is crucial for a small business. So basically the trade broker generates a network of willing participants who are willing to accept the trade credits of the trade exchange, and the businesses can do some commerce among themselves and reduce actual cash, things that would cost them cash, they're actually able to pay for without cash. So it reduces their need for, say, Federal Reserve notes or whatever. And it's a very efficient way of kind of simulating, of doing barter. It's considered barter 3.0.
Well, now, this isn't something you're just thinking about and talking about, but you want to actually set something like this up in New Hampshire, right? I
plan in the next couple of months of, I actually have talked to a consultant.
You're launching in the next couple of months?
I'm probably going to start, well, basically what you have to do in order to be, these trade exchanges are completely legal. Back in 1982, there was an act, I believe it was called TEFRA, Tax Equality and Fairness Act or whatever. Basically, before this, there were people who were going around generating these trade exchanges, and when you generate a trade exchange, it's kind of like an alternative currency. It's kind of like an alternative banking system where people don't deposit actual cash in there, but they deposit their promise to pay in goods and services. So what happened was that because these trade exchanges weren't reporting anything to the government or whatever, there was a lot of persecution of the small different regional exchanges until like the early 80s, when the trade exchanges banded together, created their trade organization. In the United States, it's NATE, National Association of Trade Exchanges, and there's the international one, International Reciprocal Trade Exchange. They banded together, they made an agreement with the IRS saying, hey, look, treat us as third-party bookkeepers and we'll document all the transactions. So pretty much this is how it's legal to set up an alternative currency in the United States, as long as you're kind of tracking the transactions and submitting reports to the government. I understand some people would find that less than attractive, but basically in order for these guys to stay in business, that's what they had to do. So
they came to a win-win solution with the IRS?
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Basically, and the thing is that a barter transaction on a business level is considered taxable income, but if you're using the barter credits or the barter profits to reduce your cash expenditures, you're not really paying taxes on them. It's a completely legal way of managing your business expenses. Mm-hmm. And it's a method of doing business that's not really talked about much in the small business press. It's not really talked too much about in business schools, but it's done widely in media. There's a lot of large organizations that'll do significant amounts of barter deals for like advertising, where you can actually use trade credits to generate cash income. So there's a lot of opportunities there, and it's going to be especially important to have alternatives as credit gets more tight, as people become less willing to part with cash because of risk or whatever. It provides an opportunity, especially for local communities, to generate business that they might not ordinarily have.
You also indicated that there might be a way that this could be used to bridge the gap between the federal dollar and whatever comes after.
Right. Basically, I remember reading F.A. Hayek's Denationalization of Money. So suppose at some period of time the government starts to hyperinflate wildly or current currency is extremely scarce. Well, if there's enough knowledgeable people around there who can generate these networks, every little local community can have their own little currency. And what would happen is that in order to facilitate commerce between the communities, you would have kind of brokers between brokers form, kind of like clearinghouses like they do with banks, who can kind of facilitate trade amongst different communities. And it can be done on a completely voluntary and competitive basis as long as people are free to enter the market. And if they're not giving their customers a good deal, someone else can jump in and start trying to facilitate trade and do this completely on a cashless basis using different accounting mechanisms. And with the computing power now, it would not be a challenge at all to kind of have hundreds of thousands of barter currencies and facilitate trade using that.
Now, do you have a website that you're going to set up?
I do not have a website for that, but I will probably have one up in the next couple of months.
And what's an example of a trade that you might engage in, like at some point in the next year?
It'd be possible. I might consider, say, bartering with some web designers or whatever, and giving them credits, and then hopefully, if I get some people in the network, they can, say, trade their credits for, I don't know, meals at a restaurant, advertising to generate cash businesses, or whatever it is they need. One of the things I would like to see done is to see if it's possible to get some durable goods into the trade network, because one of the drawbacks of the trade network is getting like tangible capital equipment, because the margins on the capital equipment is not high, and they're kind of got high cash needs in order to produce it, so they kind of got to get a lot of cash in order to sell it.